Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to 61 Physician, the rogue healing soul that was introduced in Rift 2.7. Full 61 Physician doesn't get used a whole lot in raids currently because of how strong the Cleric's Purifier Soul is, but it does do very well in Experts and PvP, so in this guide I'll be showing you where to spend your points, which masteries to select, as well as how to play the Physician. So let's go ahead and get started. Looking at the soul tree breakdown, you'll see we do the full 61 points in Physician. There is another really popular hybrid out there called the Phys Tact, which is Physician Tactician, and there's various different point distributions you can use for that. I will discuss that in another video. However, this video will be dedicated to the 61 point Physician build. So moving over to the secondary soul, we got Rift Stalker, 10 Rift Stalker that gives you 5 in Unseen Fury for the 10% attack power and weapon damage increase. You also go 5 in Great Fortitude to increase your base health by 10%. Now alternatively, if you don't want to go into Rift Stalker, you can also choose to go into Ranger and put 5 in Enduring, which gives you that same 10% base health increase. You also go 4 into Wilderness Training, giving you the 8% attack power and weapon damage. But then you also pick up this Predatory Instincts buff, which gives you 4% attack power weapon damage, which actually nets you 2% more attack power and weapon damage for going this way than it would the other way. However, I like to go Rift Stalker because I like having the Shadow Shift, which is the blink, and also Plane Bound Resilience, which gives you an additional 2,000 health. So pretty nice to have, but you don't have to go Rift Stalker. You can also go Ranger if you choose. Moving on to third soul, we go 5 in Nightblade. That's for the Burning Rage, which gives you attack power and weapon damage increase of 10%. With healing builds, it's pretty hard to not go into sub-souls that give you the max attack power and weapon damage because it's just so strong. So moving over to the Masteries, level 61, we take Aggressive Defense. This gives you the 3% max health shield that can occur every 6 seconds, pretty standard. Level 62, we take Watchover, which reduces the cast time of Preemptive Therapy by 1.5 seconds. Preemptive Therapy, if you aren't familiar, is a 30,000 hit point shield there that is usually on a 1.5 second cast, but as you can see with that mastery, it is instant, which makes it really nice. Level 63, we take Unstoppable. This gives you the 100% health returned res, also reduces the damage incoming by 30% for 5 seconds, which is really nice for recovery. Level 64, we take Through the Ether, which makes your, or Ether rather, however you want to say it. Biofeedback also deals life damage to 5 enemies within 7 meters of the target. This is really nice, especially for expert speedruns. Because if your tank isn't taking a whole lot of damage, you can literally just use your biofeedback as a AoE damage cooldown. Level 65, Planar Variation. This restores health, of course, to the ally equal to 50% of the rogue's max health each second for 3 seconds. So this is a really powerful healing and or DPS cooldown. Typically wouldn't use it for DPS though because, well, you could use it for DPS, I guess, if your tank isn't taking a whole lot of damage, you can use this coupled with your biofeedback and actually do some pretty decent AoE damage numbers in experts and such. So that's it for the Souls and Masteries, guys. Let's go ahead and talk about the macros. So looking at these macros here, you'll see that we have quite a few. Starting with the spam macro, we have a shift modifier for group therapy. Now group therapy is going to be your AoE healing over time. You want to try and keep this up as much as possible for the passive healing that it presents. Moving on down, we have a couple mouse over UI modifiers. For those that aren't familiar, what this line here actually does for us is allow you to hover your cursor over your party raid frame, whoever you want to heal, and not actually click on them. And you can hit this one key, which is where this macro is. It's on my one key, and it will heal that person because that's where your mouse is. That's what that mouse over UI modifier does. So moving on down, we have the active treatment, which is going to be your instant spammer. So causal treatment is going to be your cast time spammer. It's a 1.5 second cast, and active treatment is going to be your instant spammer, which is right here. It does a lot less health, but it is instant, so you can cast it on the move. And at the bottom, you'll see we have a couple cancel buff modifiers here. What this is going to do is turn your toggleables off for you. Now the reason you want to make sure that they're off when you're spamming this single target macro is because if they are on, if one of them is on, your energy rate will be reduced by 5 per second. If both of them are on, they stack, and your energy regeneration rate will be reduced by 10 per second, which basically makes it almost crawling, very, very slow. So you want to make sure that you have something like that in there to manage that for you, unless you're good at managing it by yourself. Moving on down, we got the finisher macro, pretty standard here, and it looks like I actually have a edit there, so we'll go ahead and save that. So this is going to be your finisher macro. Massive therapy, of course, is going to heal for about 50k for me. Maintenance therapy is going to be the spammer. It heals for about half of that for as far as finishers go. However, it does have a 10,000 or so health healing component with it as well. Moving on down, we have the AE healing macro. You'll notice that it has basically the same thing as the single target spammer, except for it has this line here: cast, not active, alternative treatment. Now, alternative treatment is going to do is it's going to make your combo point builders heal 5 people now instead of just 1, but it does reduce your energy generation rate, and it also reduces the healing by a lot, but we'll discuss this more a little bit later. So you have your alternative treatment buff on, you're still hitting your 3 key, and it'll cast your causal treatment, and if you're moving, it'll cast Active Treatment, which will heal 5 people, and it heals for a significant amount, which makes this spec very awesome for healing in experts. You also see that you have a shift modifier here to cast Adrenaline Shot. Adrenaline Shot is going to be an energy recovery skill. And of course we have Cancel Buff Pandemic, because we do not want Pandemic on at all when you're using any types of these skills, because Pandemic specifically has to do with your damaging abilities, but we'll talk about those in a bit. Moving on down, we got the quote-unquote oh crap macro. This one right here will have your emergency response, which heals for 100% of your health. Also has a small shield component. Precise Diagnosis is going to give you 5 combo points, and then of course we have pretty much the finisher lines in here. Massive Therapy, Maintenance Therapy, which are very large finishers. And if you're at that point, if you're whoever your oh crap buddy, if you're hitting this oh crap button, if you're still healing them, if you're still mashing this button, it'll cast Urgent Care, and then it'll follow up with whatever you have left, which is literally just Active Treatment. So this is a macro I use specifically for a tank saver most of the time. So moving on over to the number 5 macro here, we have Urgent Care Active Treatment. Urgent Care is a nice little, it's a little bit bigger than Active Treatment. It's nice to use for spot healing and such. As a bonus, Urgent Care will also heal 2 other people for 60% of the value healed on the original person, so it can be a nice little top up for 2 other people as well. Standard Battle Res here, just so you can put the mouse over UI in it. We have a couple shield macros here, which this is going to be your 6-second cooldown shield that shields for 17k. And then we have this guy here, which is just going to be your shield finisher. And I literally have these macros as well, just for the mouse over UI. We discussed that a little earlier though. We also have a single target cleanse macro, again pretty standard. This right here will allow you so you can just mash this button and it will find whatever person in your raid needs to be cleansed and cleanse them. Moving on down, we have the medicinal leeching. This is your DPS macro. I don't typically use this very much simply because you have viral infection that deals lots of damage by just casting your heal spells. So this one's pretty much only nice for AoE situations, but we'll discuss that later. And then of course we have a couple cooldowns. We have your planar variation cooldown, which is at a mouse over UI, biofeedback, which of course is at mouse over, and also life insurance, which is again at mouse over UI. And then of course we have the K alert over here. So a lot of macros, but they're pretty easy to use. We'll discuss them here in a little bit. So that's it for the macros, guys. Let's go ahead and jump into the action bar and the buffs. So coming up here to the top left, you'll see we have Preventative Medication. This is going to make it so that when hit, the rogue gains an absorption shield that absorbs 50% of damage taken up to 5,000 damage. Now, you'd think this would be pretty strong, but it can only be triggered once every 20 seconds. So it's nice passive shielding, but it's not going to be game breaking. Moving over to the right, Simultaneous Treatment. This one is really awesome because it causes 30% of the overhealing received by raid members from the physician's single target abilities to be transferred into an absorbed shield. It caps at 5% of the target's max hit points. However, with 61 points of physician, you do pick up an ability that extends that to 15% max hit points. Moving over to the right, we got Supportive Care. Buffs a single target party or raid member. Whenever you cast single target physician heals or absorb, target gains a 50% absorb shield. Lasts 1 hour. Absorbs up to 6,000 damage. Can only be used on one party or raid member. So it's a nice little damage soak there. We got the Plane-Bound Resilience buff from Brifstalker, which gives you about 2,000 hit points. We have Alternative Treatment, which again is going to make your heals less effective but hit 5 people. We got Pandemic, which is going to cause a lot of your DPS abilities to hit harder and heal for more, but it does reduce your regeneration rate. We have the K-alert macro here. Moving on down, we have Precise Diagnosis, which grants you 5 combo points. We have the DPS Builder macro here. We have the DPS Finisher macro here. Typically aren't going to be used simply because viral infection is so strong. Q, Z, E, and R, these are going to be my cooldown keybinds. Q, we have Life Insurance, which buffs a single ally with an absorb shield that absorbs 36k. Last 10 seconds. If they take a killing blow, it restores 50% of their health. So this one's also a really nice oh crap button. So if your tank's at like half health or something and you know that they're about to take a really giant hit, you can put Life Insurance on them. And if they take the hit kills them, then they'll be back at 50% health, allowing you to react. So it's a nice little insurance policy. So kind of ironic there. For Z, we have Intensive Care. This all healing and absorb abilities are buffed by 50% for builders and finishers for 10 seconds. That's pretty nice. On E, we have Biofeedback. This is a really strong cooldown because not only does it heal for ridiculous amounts, but it also reduces the damage taken by 15%, and you can move with it. Planar Variation restores health of the ally equal to 50% of the rogue's max health. You guys are probably pretty familiar with this one by now. Nightmare Tide's been out for quite some time. You can also move with this one. Moving over, we got Viral Infection. Debuffs a single enemy, causing any of your physician healing or absorb abilities to deal 7,500 damage. Last 10 minutes. This one right here is going to be the bread and butter of your DPS. Make sure that when you're starting a fight that you are casting this on whatever creature has the most hit points and you're trying to burst down. It will end up allowing you to do a decent chunk of DPS just with this one ability. Over here we have Shadow Shift. This is going to be your teleport. Over on the right, we get Conceal. That is from the Nightblade tree. This allows you to get to stealth. You can use this in PvP if you like. Moving on down, we have the 1 is going to be your spam macro here. 2 is going to be your finisher macro. 3 is going to be your Aoe healing macro. 4 is going to be your oh crap button macro. 5 is going to be your top up macro. 6 is going to be your battle res. 7 is going to be expectant treatment, which is your 6-second cooldown shield. 8 is going to be preemptive therapy, which is a 30k finisher shield. 9 is adrenaline shot, which is an energy recovery, and 0 is going to be your Aoe cleanse. Moving on to the minus key is single target cleanse, which to note really quickly, with single target cleanses, whenever you cleanse somebody with a single target cleanse, it heals that target for 25% of your attack power as well, so keep that in mind. And moving over to the right, of course, on the equals key, we have the standard break free. So that's it for the action bars and the buffs, guys. Let's go ahead and talk about K alerts briefly. So looking at the K alerts here, we don't really track a whole lot. I only track the group therapy and also the viral infection. Now, viral infection lasts 10 minutes, but if the mob dies and you swap targets or whatever, I like to be able to know, have something that reminds me that viral infection is not up or is up. That way I can make sure that it is up, because it's passive damage that you don't have to do anything for other than just continue your healing. So the healing over time component is really nice passive healing as well. Before Nightmare Tide, this was actually a lot of the reason that the physician was so overpowered, is because it was able to heal quite a bit of hit points over time and keep people topped up just with this one skill. So that's really it for the K alerts, guys. So I guess now let's go ahead and discuss how you play Physician. Playing 61 Physician is actually relatively easy. The majority of it's going to be selecting a target and then using your Causal Treatment spam. So how you typically do this is, or how I do it rather, is you'd use Causal Treatment twice. Causal Treatment is going to grant you 2 combo points per cast. That gives you 4 combo points, and then I'll move over to hitting Expectant Treatment, which is a nice little 18k shield or so, or 17k shield. That'll give you the 5th combo point, and then I'll finish with Preemptive Therapy, which is a 30k shield. So between these 2 shields here, you're getting yourself almost 50k, and that's non-crit. So if they crit, it should be close to around 80 or so with my crit power. So pretty strong stuff. If you maintain that on your tank, you typically won't have any issues healing at all. So that's going to be the majority of the single target portion. You can also, if you're having issues and you need an oh crap button, you can hit your oh crap here, which will heal for 100% of your health and also give them a 10,000 absorb. Most of the rogues absorbs all stack with each other as well, so you can stack up a pretty large shield between all the different rogue abilities here. So that's mostly single target. If you need cooldowns, you can move up to the QZ ENR here. Life insurance is nice because it does give an additional 36k shield and lasts 10 seconds. Typically I will use this if a tank takes a really large hit and he's on like say 10 or 20% hit points, and you know that if you top him up he might take another deadly hit. You can pop this on him, and if he does take that deadly hit, it'll put him back at 50% health and allow you to react a little better. So life insurance is pretty nice. Moving over to the Z, intensive care. This one I will use, typically I will use this one in conjunction with the AoE, but if you do need it for single target, you can use it for the single target as well. Increases your builders and finishers by 50% for 10 seconds. That's pretty nice. For single target as well, biofeedback is really nice, particularly on phases where a boss will deal more damage, because it does reduce the damage taken by 15% and allows movement. So really nice single target healing there. And of course, planar variation. You do want to be careful with planar variation though, because the first tick does not do any healing, so you do have to wait a full global cooldown before you see the first tick. So you're going to want to kind of use this one reactively, but also kind of preemptive a little bit as well, because you do have to account for that 1 second before it starts ticking. So you do have a lot of options when it comes to single target, but as I said before, the majority of this rotation is going to be spamming your 1 key twice, followed by either another Causal Treatment and waste a combo point and then use finishers, or you can use your shields. But I recommend that you use your shields because increasing effective hit points of your tank is going to be one of your top priorities. So the other part of that as well is, of course, you do want to make sure that your group therapy is up at all times. The way you'll do that is when you start the fight. Usually what I'll do is I'll just cast a couple Causal Treatments and then fire off an active treatment to get to 5 combo points. So now you have your 5 combo points. You can just hit shift, hold shift down, and hit 1, because remember there is a shift modifier for group therapy in our 1 macro here. So we hit shift and 1, and there it is. There's our K alert letting us know that their hot is ticking down. Now we'll typically do that right before the battle starts, and then you can start doing your 1 spam, and then when this guy starts getting low, you can, instead of using one of your shield finishers, you can use your shift and 1 hot finisher. Now typically if your tank's taking just ridiculous amounts of damage, you're obviously going to want to normalize the tank first before you use that group therapy finisher, but you definitely want to try and keep it up as much as you can. So that's pretty much it for the single target, guys. We're going to move on to the AoE now. So for AoE healing, literally this is very easy. So for AoE healing, first thing you're going to do is you're going to hit your 3 key a bunch of times, because that is going to toggle on your alternative treatment buff for us. So once you hit your 3 button, your alternative treatment's on, and then you're just going to spam your causal treatment. Now you'll see that causal treatment does 15k now instead of the, I think before it was like the 30k. That's about 15k because it does 50% less. Still gives you the 2 combo points, but you'll notice if we keep spamming this, you'll run out of energy pretty quick. You'll see we're now down to the 50, so you can't keep spamming this, but keep in mind that you do have adrenaline shot mapped to your shift button on your 3 keys, so if you start getting low on energy and you're watching your energy get low there, we're down to 50, you can hit shift and hit 3 and it'll fire off your adrenaline. You can keep on going. So that's a nice way to kind of get some burst AoE healing off, and that is a very, very strong way to do AoE healing. Now, one other note, with alternative treatment, something really cool is it also affects your shields. So for instance, right now you'll notice that Expectant Treatment usually does a 17k absorb, but now it does about a 10k absorb, and you think, oh wow, it reduced the damage. And that is because now it will hit 5 people. And this is a lot of the reason that people love to use Fizz Tacs, because you can still maintain this with the hybrid Fizz Tac, and you can hit this shield, and it will shield up to 5 people. So it's really nice. You can just keep spamming that every time it comes up, and just keep shielding people repeatedly. That and also your simultaneous treatment as well. You just keep spamming your causal treatment here, and you'll be constantly shielding with this, and also popping your expectant treatment to shield with that. So it's a lot of passive shielding there. So keep that in mind. But for AoE healing, guys, literally it's just hitting your 3 key, and then when you're done with that and everybody's topped up, you want to make sure, of course, that your group therapy is running. But when everybody is topped up, you can just start spamming your 1 key again. And if you remember right, the 1 key has the cancel buff for alternative treatment, so you don't actually have to toggle this at all. Everything is toggled for you. So as soon as you start hitting your 1 key, you'll see that it untoggles. You can do your causal followed by your shields, and put your shields up again. So as you see, it's very, very easy, guys. Like I said, for single target, you'll just be using most of the time your causal treatment spam and finisher. If for heavy tank damage, for a little bit lighter, say medium tank damage, you want to make sure that you're using your shields, because it does increase the effective health. Once you have your shields up, you can pretty much maintain your single target rotation with the spam here and the shields, and you won't have any issues. For the AoE, you're literally just going to swap to your 3 button. If you start getting energy starved, just hold 3 as you hit your shift button, and it'll pop off your adrenaline shot and give you some energy back. So you do need to be careful a little bit with it, because you can get starved even after using adrenaline shot. So you don't just want to constantly spam causal treatment and that's it. You are going to want to swap back and forth. So, and of course, remember also that alternative treatment does work with your expectant treatment shield as well. So it's really nice passive shielding. But that's it, guys. It's very, very easy to play 61 Physician. I really hope you enjoyed this. If you have any comments, please leave them in the section below. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out the Facebook page at www.facebook.com/chamberdown. And I will see you guys next time.